How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here with another episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. My guest today is the absolutely brilliant DragTrashly. Here she is.
Hi,
How you doing, DragTrashly? You doing okay?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm so honoured to have you on the show. I really am.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
doing amazing on the
I'm
Twitch.
so this is I think this is my first podcast, so I'm honored to be here
Yes, we did
on a
it.
podcast.
You're on my podcast. I'm honoured. I really am honoured to have you here for sure. But yeah, Drag Trash Things. Tell us a bit about yourself in terms of like socials. Introduce yourself basically to anyone who doesn't know who Drag Trashly is.
All right, well, I'm DragTrashly. I'm normally in drag for video things, but you know what? Sometimes, and I live most of my life out of drag, like right now. But most of my streaming I do in drag. My welcoming phrase is what do I usually say? I'm Trashly, and I'm here. I'm I garbage can entertain you. um, I'm a drag queen streamer. I stream on Twitch. Yeah, I uh, I have YouTube and TikTok and all the other socials, but I primarily just play video games on Twitch. And sometimes I do makeup. Once a week, I like to do makeup while streaming,
Mm,
where I'll start like this and then get into something more like what you're seeing, the banner below.
100%. And I mean, oh wow! Look at the banner, all the colors. It's amazing. I mean, it's a different stream each a different look each stream almost, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
incredible.
I do have some like go-to outfits that I'll throw on when I'm not feeling very inspired, or if I just need to quickly put something on. But I try to switch it up. I try to do different fun looks, like looks based on the game I'm playing, maybe like cosplay or drag inspired cosplays or cosplay inspired drags. Um, and just different maybe um the atmosphere or the general vibe of the game I'm playing.
That is amazing. Oh, you look amazing, for sure. Okay, but that's now. This is what we're doing now. But I mean, let's take it back. Then we go back to the beginning. So, what are your first memories of video games? Were you a big video game person growing up? What are your first memories?
I think I was. So my first memories of video gaming were playing just Super Mario Brothers just for the original Nintendo with my older sister. I remember having one. I have no idea how old I was or what I was doing. All I know is like it was before third grade. So I had a lot of memories playing that with her. We played some Puss in Boots game a lot,
Nice, yeah.
um, and just other Nintendo games. And I remember one of my uncles had a computer that had Kong on it, and it had like the little joystick, almost like an arcade. So I would play that when I visited that uncle. My other uncle had a Sega Genesis,
Nice.
and so I would play Sonic when I visited him. And those were always treats to get to play those new games. Nothing, not like my Nintendo, where I only had Mario that I just died at immediately. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I and then I would say I started really getting into like more gaming on my own rather than whatever my sister was playing more. And like when Pokemon was coming out, that was a
Mm.
huge thing. That was like how I made friends in middle school, and it kind of was what my social life was kind of revolved around at
Nice.
that point when I was a kid.
Yeah. So, who's your go-to Pokemon? Who was your starter?
So my starter, oh my God, I can't remember my first starter. I think now my brain is so like consumed by, optimizing and strategy that it's like, well, I'm going to take the fire type because
Mm.
starting out in a grass type area is just smarter. I mean, depending on the Pokemon game, but I think it was Bulbasaur, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think I really liked Bulbasaur from the show, and and then I also had the Pikachu one where you would just pick Pikachu because it would
Yeah.
follow you around.
Yeah, and then you got the three starters with that Pokemon Yellow, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Pokemon Yellow.
Oh, so good, so good. And you got for Team Rocket, I think we're in that as well. Um,
Yep, yep.
I never had Pokemon Yellow. I did play it briefly, but yeah, I was jealous of everyone that got it because they got all three, well, all four Pokemon. I was like, oh yeah, you got all three. Okay.
Did you ever have I remember I had a pocket Pikachu that I would take to school. They're like, those little Tamagotchis, but instead
No.
it was a Pikachu.
What?
I
No.
had one of those and I was an early adopter to Pokemon. Like I was in and committed to Pokemon before it became like I'm not saying I was like a hipster, but before it became like big enough to where, the popular kids were playing.
Yeah, yeah.
I was bringing that pocket Pikachu and I would get made fun of. People I would get made fun of so much for having it.
Oh man.
Because you would walk around, you would get steps, and then you would I think you would fight battles on it after like walking around. But then like within the next year, it became like everybody likes Pokemon. And I
Mm.
was the cool kid because I had all the Pokemon on my Game Boy already. I had the Mew and I knew how to duplicate. I was like helping I was giving the popular kids the best Pokemon from my Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you catch them all on the first gen?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Nice.
only gen I've ever caught them all on,
Yeah.
and then I
Same.
kind of fell off onto other things.
Yeah, same, same. I didn't, I didn't have too many friends myself that had played Pokemon, so I used to have two Game Boys and then link them myself. A bit of a loner. Oh well, but hey, caught them all.
I mean, I did the same, but I would just use like I would just borrow my brother's or another friend's to duplicate them for myself.
Yeah, man. I remember taking forever to catch a Tauros in the Safari Zone. It was just, it was giving me such a headache. It was frustrating. Because you had the park balls, so you couldn't even use like a mega ball or anything like that. You had to use their own crappy balls, and it was a pain in the butt. He's
Oh
like,
yeah.
good times, good times. So, yeah, so you mentioned that you obviously once you caught them all on, but did you play the other gens afterwards?
There was the Pokemon Yellow, and then after that, I think I played some, but I never had a Game Boy Advance.
Hmm.
Um, I think I kind of started switching into my PC gaming era at that point, where
Okay.
I was playing like Diablo 2 um online, and like there were like these other things like there's a MMORPG called Tibia that I spent a lot of time playing. Um, then there was another game called Forcadia. These are probably still games these days. It
Hmm.
was called Forcadia. It's kind of funny because I was like in seventh or eighth grade playing this game called Forcadia, and I would me and my friend would like I don't know the technical term for it, but it was an MMORPG, but it's also very text-based. Like everything was pretty much text-based, and you would have an avatar on the screen that moved around, and you could do simple things like pick up objects or throw them down, but it was mostly focused around the concept of dreams, where you could create your own world that other people could come into, and you could program these worlds, and you you could visit each other's worlds, or there would be like just like public ones on like the main servers that you could just go into. So I made a hospital for my I was a horse named Farako, and he was a doctor and had a hospital. I employed people. Like I'm in eighth and seventh grade. I don't know who I'm playing with, but I'm like employing people. I started out like I this is how I got introduced into programming too. So like I'm a
Wow.
software engineer outside of Twitch, and so outside of Drag and Twitch.
No,
And
you're
so
fine.
like this was my start into programming, where I used a language called Dragon Speak to like program my level, my my hospital. But anyway, it turns out that this was mainly a game for like people with furry fetishes, and I didn't really realize that as a software or as a what was it, seventh or eighth grader, and it was just like I was going into the YIF rooms.
Okay.
What is this rated? What is this podcast rated?
It's adult rated. It's fine.
Well, as a junior high schooler, I was having sex as a horse with strangers on the internet.
Wow. I think that's the first for this podcast, but it's an adult podcast. Wow.
But it was
nice.
just like I was a teenage boy. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing like I was just messing around and
Yeah.
just like thought it was fun and stupid and um so yeah, that was mainly my junior high and early high school gaming experience
Goodness me.
were those.
Yeah. I was going to say I've never heard of the. I mean, I've heard of Diablo, but I've not heard of the other two games you mentioned there. But I mean, they seem quite in depth for that era of games. So I think you talk about
Yeah,
the early noughties. Is this?
what was that?
Was that? Is this like this the early noughties time?
This would probably
Early two
be
thousands.
2002,
Yeah.
2001
I say it's
ish.
really in depth stuff. Not many games like that were
Yeah,
like that.
it was like that one game that's very popular, and it's actually having a resurgence. And my brain is, I have nap post nap brain, but it's like a very early MMORPG
Hmm.
that was free to play. I think it was called. Oh my god, it's so famous, and my brain is lacking. But it was very similar, on par for that one. And I'm just waiting for it to come to me, and it's not. Start with an R.
I don't.
Anyway, um, but yeah, that was from there. I went into like more like I like Halo. I would play Halo 2 and like um I guess we could sprinkle in 007 Goldeneye. I'm not sure if
Hmm.
the dates are all correct on these in order, but definitely Goldeneye was a game I played a lot of.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't play it. Me and my friend, we would just like load up into a multiplayer level and just run around and like we would basically play 007 GoldenEye RP. We would just like make our houses. We would we would do crazy things just in the game because we would get bored with the regular gameplay.
Yeah. I so I think that was on Nintendo 64, wasn't it? The GoldenEye game.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah. I remember you mentioned role playing and the FPS games of that time. There was so much imagination that you had to put in because of the lack of detail, I suppose. But yeah,
Yeah.
I remember similar things. Like I remember, if I'm not mistaken, death matches weren't a thing. They've now become a thing. Obviously, a few years after that, but I don't think there was a deathmatch option on GoldenEye, if I'm not mistaken. So because people would make their own rules up
Yeah.
to do their own thing.
I can't remember because also this crosses over with Perfect Dark because like I'm not sure how much I played of that and how much I played of 007 GoldenEye because the levels were similar, the gameplay was similar. I might have played more Perfect Dark than 007 GoldenEye, but who knows?
Yeah,
These were all games owned by my friend because I was pretty much not allowed to have violent types of games. I was raised in a very strong like Christian conservative household, so it was very rare for me to sneak one of those types of games in.
yeah, yep,
With the internet and the PC gaming, like that was my realm, and my parents had no idea what was going on in there, so I could pretty much get and do whatever I want on the internet. Um,
yeah. It's funny.
RuneScape was the one I was trying to think of.
Got you. Yeah. For some reason, I
That
was
was a
thinking.
huge that was a huge game. But it was very those were very similar in style and like capabilities.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was thinking World of Warcraft, but I wasn't sure if you meant. But yeah, RuneScape. Wow. Yeah. Goodness.
Well, later I did dabble into WoW, but I never really got into it like seriously. Like I had friends that were like they were dead hard into that game. They did nothing else.
Mm,
Like it was part of their life. But for me, I think I was kind of saved by, I lived in the country. I had a 56K modem, so WoW was difficult to play.
yeah.
Um, but the like Diablo 2 and other online games like that, I could still play with the 56K modem as long as no one needed to use the phone.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely remember those days myself. Yeah. I was going to mention something. I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, I was going to mention about being online in those days. Like you were mentioning about your parents not knowing really what you were doing. And that resonates with me as well in terms of like it was just this big unknown thing back in the late 90s, early noughties and stuff like that about like Oh, he or she's doing their own thing. That's fine. It's safe. And it really, really
Right.
wasn't safe.
They're inside.
Yes.
They're inside. They're safe. They're having sex as a horse. It's fine. Don't worry about them.
Yeah, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
They, yeah.
Good
Well, I mean,
times.
it became unsafe for me one time because I was grounded, but I had ran a cord from my room in the basement because this was late. This was late high school because I got to switch to the basement because my sister moved out, and I was playing games downstairs when I wasn't supposed to because I was grounded, and they came in and they cut the phone line to the basement.
Oh, right.
And when they went to sleep, I went and stripped those phone wires and I was like twisting them together using these pliers and I kept getting shocked and I would just have to like take a deep breath and like try again and then just like it was not great, but I did it. I got back on the internet.
Wow.
I was
Wow.
maybe addicted to I think I was at that point I was playing Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne. I was really into that.
Wow, what a story! Fair play. Very, 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 very much. Definitely. Yeah, I gotta play this. I gotta play this.
Right. No matter the cost. I keep getting shocked, but got to keep
Oh,
going.
oh my goodness me! I was about to ask you if you got any video game stories growing up, but I mean, I don't know if you can beat that one.
I feel like, yeah, I don't think there's much more. I hope there's not much more, but like talking to you, bringing up memories that
I'm
maybe
sorry
I
about
purposely
that.
forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is becoming not this is no longer a podcast
Nope.
interview, it's therapy for me.
Yes, I was
So
about to say
no.
therapy with Johnny Beard now. Sorry. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. So you played a bit online. So was there an offline element as well? Did you play any like long single player long term story games, or was it mostly online games playing MMOs basically, or similar vein games?
So I played a lot of Final Fantasies.
Oh,
So I think I
nice.
started with Final Fantasy 8 and this was like it was so funny because I would learn words playing that game that like my teachers were confused about that I was using. I
Yeah.
would like because the dialogue is written so strangely and like I'm learning how to speak as I'm growing up and now I'm speaking like a Final Fantasy character.
Yeah.
Like I shall I put my homework upon your desk? And they're like, what?
Oh,
Uh,
I've got a story that I can relate to with that. But I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan myself, and I remember playing Final Fantasy 7, and I was in I don't know what would be the equivalent in the US, but I mean I was in year 6, so I was about 10 years old playing Final Fantasy 7, and I was playing it, and there was Nanaki Red 13 in the game, and he says one line, he goes, "It's an informed question, but it's difficult to answer." And I remember throwing that at my teachers in year 6.
that's so
And it's
funny.
like, why the hell did I say it? I just said it just to be sassy. So
That's
I
so
can
good
relate to
though.
that for sure. But yeah, Final Fantasy 8, that was your first Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I did go back to 7, but you have to understand I was renting these games, so whenever I could sneak in a rated teen or rated M game, I sometimes my parents would notice or care, or I would play them at my friend's place, who sometimes owned them, and yeah, it was mostly I didn't never finish 7 because it was just renting, and then 8 I did because I think I owned it eventually.
Yeah,
And then 9 was rented. 10 I was probably my favorite and probably the only one I've played as much as I've played a Final Fantasy.
nice. Well, let's talk about 10 in a sec, but 8, I mean, 8 was a very different Final Fantasy game. The way you level up and
Mhm.
all that stuff. How did you take to it back when you first played it? Because
I had no idea
yeah,
what I was doing. I
yeah,
had no idea what I was doing. I didn't really know the story. Again, I was renting it, so I would play for like a couple days and not even get that far, and then get it back the next time I rented it and not know where I was or what I was doing anymore. But it was mostly just kind of a way to watch the cool cutscenes for the summons.
yes. And they were so beautiful. There was nothing like it back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous graphics at the time. So 10, I mean, 10's amazing, let's be honest. So what are your memories of playing 10?
I remember being very invested in the story. I was like, "Oh, this is so good. This is the best story I've ever seen or played." Like, I was in love with it. I was in love with all the characters. Um, it took me a while to beat it too. I can't tell you how many hours it was. It was probably far too many, and at this point, I forgot. Uh, but yeah, it was definitely I wish I knew specifics of why. I just remember feeling that way.
Hmm.
Like, this is premium content. It's
100%.
kind of how I feel when I watch like a really good television show today.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about 10, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned about your upbringing in a Christian household, because again, that's a big theme in 10 is the religious themes of Yevon and stuff like that. I mean, did that connect with you at all at that time, or that's not
I
something that?
probably wasn't. That
No.
probably wasn't something that
No.
I was connecting to.
Yeah. No, that's fair
I
enough.
was I was probably still like ultra like because I myself was pretty religious as well. So like because of that, being raised in that kind of household, that I was kind of like, I mean, it didn't affect what games I played or
Mm.
movies I watched because I was like, this doesn't make me a sinner. I'm
No,
just watching something.
exactly. No, 100%. Yeah. So, after then, so that was PlayStation 2 then, wasn't it? So did you have PlayStation 2? I know you said you've rented borrowed games and stuff like that. What games did you play then from that era onwards then?
Oh, it's all muddled. So let's see. I remember a lot of what did I play? I played a lot of Sims in high school and junior high. That was also another game I played a lot of. Because all these were kind of like when they were released, I would play them, and then something else
Mm.
would come out, and I would get that. Majora's Mask, I think that was my first Zelda that I played all the way through and beat because I owned it. Um, I borrowed a kid's, I think, a Nintendo Power Guide, and I took it to my dad's work, and I copied every single page of it
Oh
so I
wow.
could have the guide, and then I used that to get through Majora's Mask because I was too young and dumb to do that on my own. Probably still today too young, well, too dumb at least to go through
No.
through Majora's Mask on my own. Um, because yeah, I like I said, I don't think I said this, but I'm not very good at video games. I wouldn't say like I'm
No.
a professional in any sense, but I do enjoy them, and I do, as part of my Twitch content, aim to entertain rather than entertain in a way that's not me being good at the game.
Yeah, it's entertainment. No, it's great. It's great. But yeah, that unlocks memories for me because again, I used to go on a website called Game Facts, Game FAQs a lot. And this is obviously pre YouTube days. So you mentioned Nintendo Power Magazine, and yeah, I used to have some of those magazines. I used to print off like guides on Game Facts. It used to be like 50 pages.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
oh man, yeah. So yeah, same. I completely relate to that completely. Because yeah, we didn't have YouTube in those days. The kids nowadays. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
There's also an EverQuest game, not Neverwinter Night. Champions of Norrath. That's what it was.
Oh goodness, that's a
That was a
throwback.
big deal for me.
Yeah.
That was a I actually bought like more equipment for my PlayStation 2 so I could play four player on that with one of the controller extent. Like you would plug it in so you could do four controllers rather than just two.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh goodness. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, is there like a game that comes to mind when you think of like what's the hardest game you've ever played? What are some of the hardest games you've played?
Well, from my perspective, every new game is a challenge and very hard. Um, oh, the hardest game. I just think there's so many different types of games that I play that like I if we limit it to like the hardest game I've ever played, I mean, we'd have to go back to when I was a kid and
Mm.
not knowing how to do any of this. Like Tropicana, I don't think I ever figured out how to do anything on that game. It was like a sim. I think it was called Tropicana. That's an orange juice. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, there's like some safari where you're like building a camp in a safari like simulation game. I never figured that out as a kid. Majora's Mask was pretty hard. But if we're talking about like, modern age me playing video games, like one of the hardest games, oh, the only thing that comes to mind right now is Elden Ring
Yeah.
because that's my first From Software game that I've actually played continuously. But if I did try Dark Souls 3 and I decided it was too difficult
Yeah.
for me.
Oh,
Well,
I can't play them.
too difficult and not enough fun. It
Yeah.
was it was too much of a time. Like I was spending too much time doing one thing and it was like I was like, "You know what? I don't have to do this. I can turn this off."
Yeah.
So I did.
I feel you. I struggle with that with Souls games. I can't play them. Save my life. Ugh,
Well,
yeah.
Elden Ring is like they make it so you can make it easier. And there's like ways the way they balance it isn't like selecting difficulty or lowering HPs of bosses, although they do scale with if you add people to the game. But the way they balance it is through like messages people leave on the ground to tell you like there's someone around the corner. So you don't have to go through this entire dungeon again because you get ambushed. And you don't have to read those messages. There's also like areas you can go level up. You don't have to, it's not linear, it's open world. So you can make yourself stronger before moving on. So that's why I feel like, I mean, Elden Ring is probably is easier, but more accessible.
Yeah. Yeah. I played Dark Souls 1 and I played Bloodborne. I've not played Elden Ring yet. I need to get it. It looks incredible. For sure. But yeah, no, I'll brave my way through it at some point for sure.
I didn't think I was going to like it. I got it as a joke to stream. I got the disc version because I had every intention of just like reselling it or taking it back.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Um, because I was like, yeah, or snapping it live on stream if I hated it so much. But but I ended up really liking it, and I've been streaming it on Saturdays usually and still haven't beat it, but I'm number one bimbo mage. If, whatever that means to you, yeah, number one bimbo mage. Shoot spells from afar.
Yeah. Well,
If
everyone,
a
Saturdays.
monster touches me, I die.
No. Well, everyone should be watching it on Saturdays. That's for sure. What was I going to say? Yeah. So what? I mean, that brings the question actually nicely to what are you playing right now? So you're playing Elden Ring on Saturdays. Well, what else are you playing at the moment?
Dead by Daylight
Yeah.
is the main game I stream. Um, it's it's become like a game that I feel like when streaming a game, I need to like it and people need to watch it and like me playing it. So like a game that I would say is terrible for me to play is World of Warcraft Classic. That came out and I streamed it and it's like I don't know how to have like any type of personality when playing an MMORPG. I'm literally just like my mouth is open and I'm like my eyes are glazed over just doing chores in the game. So I personally just am not like it doesn't work well with my type of personality
Mm.
to play those types of games. But Dead by Daylight has like an excitement, short matches you can drop in, you can watch. If you missed a match, you're gonna see the next one. I also feel like it's exciting, so it brings out more of excitement in my personality rather than me just collecting bugs and stuff.
Mm. Yeah. Makes sense. So,
But yeah,
wait,
I was
um,
gonna say Dead by Daylight is mostly, and then I stream. I've been getting into Fall Guys again. I streamed
so
that for a little
good.
while.
Yay. I
Yeah,
I love Fall Guys.
I want to do that a little more. I mostly, like I said, mostly stream Dead by Daylight, but I used to on Saturdays stream before Elden Ring. I would have like a cinematic Saturdays where I would do a very narrative, have a like heavy narrative focused game, like the like Man of Medan or any of those types of games where it's like very interactive, but make your choice. Detroit or no, Become Human Detroit was
Oh, that's a good game.
actually one of my favorite games.
Yes.
I don't know.
Love that game. One of my favorite games ever. Ever. So
Yeah,
good. I
played
cried
through
many
all of those
tears.
games. Um, but I try to switch it up enough to, classify as a variety streamer. I'm not sure what the quota is, but I try to, not only stream Dead by Daylight, but also I am a Dead by Daylight partner, and I do enjoy the game. I'm not the worst at it, and people like watching me. So
There we go. That's amazing. You're a Dead by Daylight partner as well. Not everyone can say that. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I got that pretty much by just doing a bunch of Dead by Daylight cosplays. I think they were.
nice.
I did a series called the Hatchleret, which is on YouTube. Um, but I wanted to find a killer main because everybody had killer mains, like Elix, another stream queen, and one of my first friends while streaming is a hag main, and Deer, the founder of Stream Queens, another friend of mine, she's a pig main, and like other all these other streamers and my friends have killer mains, and so I did the Hatchleret, my search for a killer main to find true love. And so I played through every killer, but I also cosplayed as every killer as I was playing them. And I
That
think
is awesome.
that yeah, I think that's when I got eventually got partnered with Dead by Daylight.
Hey, that is so cool. I mean, if it's on YouTube as well, then everyone check that out. Oh, that is
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
cool. Fair play. So if you had to choose a game that you class as maybe the best of all time, is that an easy question? And if so, what would it be? Why?
I always say Portal 2 for this because was I think the Portal series, maybe Portal 1, I don't know. Maybe Portal 1 because I feel like that took for me gaming to something that is a game, but also the way they told the narrative
Oh yeah.
as you were playing the game was just so good and so well done that it's like this is what video gaming is. This is what video gaming should be. Like, because I mean, yeah, it was the narrative play. I feel um like Portal 2, Half-Life 2 was really good at telling a story within the game while telling you how to play the game and just really immersing you into it. Just so yeah, I would say Portal and or Portal 2.
Oh, Portal 2. I'm actually playing it now on stream myself,
Oh,
and
really?
I played it many times. It's for me, it's the funniest game ever made. Portal 2. It's so
Yeah, yeah.
funny, so funny. But like you said, the narrative, the plot twists, the humor, the puzzles are great as well. The
Yep,
characters are
yep.
full of character. Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Portal 2 and Portal 1 as well. Portal 1 is obviously the plot twist of Portal 1 is brilliant anyway, because you don't see it coming. I
Right, you
didn't.
just start getting lowered into fire and you're just like, "What do I do?" The game doesn't tell you not to go into the fire, and then you just die, and you're like, "Oh, I guess I have to get out."
Yeah, exactly. No, it's oh yeah, a lot of love for Portal and Portal 2 for sure. Sorry, backtracking slightly. Yeah. So you mentioned what games you're playing right now. Do you play a lot of games offline, or do you play the games that you play are mostly on stream? Where's the balance now?
I play games offline. So, I'll play Dead by Daylight offline, because I think it's fun and I like playing with friends, and I have a lot of friends who play it. I have a boyfriend and we'll play games together. I play a lot of board games. I'm a huge board game nerd, like excessively, which honestly, if you're gonna be into drag, don't be into board games or and
Okay.
vice versa because there's just not room. I have no room. Like, look, this is my drag closet and my streaming room. The board games take up like, a wall in our living room. And so it's just like there's just not enough space for these expensive hobbies. Oh yeah, and they're very
I
expensive.
was gonna say, yes, but yeah, I get that side of it as well. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I didn't think about it until you mentioned it, but yeah.
Yeah. Um But yeah, I'll play board games. I used to have a nightly board game night with friends, and that kind of fell off towards COVID and other things. And but hopefully gonna start up that again at some point. But it's as a streamer, it's hard to find time like a
yeah.
night off sometimes because night off, I kind of want to have a night off. It's like I do want to play board games with friends, but also I do just want to sit and do nothing for once.
Definitely.
Um,
No, I feel you there. Feel
yeah,
you
I'll
there.
play that. I've been playing Sackboy. I think that's an excellent multiplayer game. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's for
PS. Yeah,
PlayStation.
I think I have. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It'll be
been playing that with
quiet.
my boyfriend. It's a really good game. Like much like Portal 2, I would say it's like an excellent game to just play with someone else that you don't hate
Yeah,
or that you want to hate. So
I was gonna say. Yeah, you unlocked something there. No, that's cool. That's cool. So when you play games, then offline, online, do you play for achievements and trophies, or it's not something that you're interested in, or
uh, I think it depends on how the game's set up. I feel like some games can really like latch on to my addictive personality of just like min-maxing things. But sometimes I can see through the bullshit. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. I don't have to. I feel like the last thing I 100% completed was Spider-Man Miles Morales.
yeah?
And I did, yeah, I 100% of that. But that was like a shorter game. It was much easier to do everything in it.
Hmm.
Um, the Elden Ring, I'm not going to do everything.
I've heard
I don't.
the trophies on that are insane. I don't know how
Yeah.
true that is, but
The Dead by Daylight has a lot of trophies, and I think I will complete them all eventually, since that I feel like that's something I should do.
oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, if you were stuck on a remote island and you could only have 3 games with you on that island for the rest of your life, you're on that island, but you do have access to the internet, so don't worry about that. What would
Okay.
those 3 games be that you have to play for the rest of your life, and why?
Okay, so would I have access to food and water?
Oh, that's not important.
That's okay, it's not important. Just about the video games.
Just the, oh, you get
Um,
yeah, yeah, you gotta have to.
well, they're trying to gamify everything, so I'm like, maybe Amazon. No. Uh, I would definitely say The Sims. I could play that. The Sims, City Skylines, and then World of Warcraft just because they keep releasing content and that'll be a way for me to be social.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't say Dead by Daylight. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's difficult because I really would need to spend a lot of time and Dead by Daylight releases a new like 2 new killers per year and new maps and I mean they release a lot, but if I'm thinking about ways to kill time on an island, I'm thinking simulation games because those I just disappear into. Um, but
okay.
yeah, Dead by Daylight would be fourth, I think.
Yeah, I mean, World of Warcraft, like you said, over 20 years of
Yeah.
updating, isn't it? Unless you
I
you
don't
can't
even
knock
play
that.
it now.
Still,
Like,
start from
I don't play it
scratch.
now, I just know if I'm on an island, I could make it last a while.
Sure, I know you're right there. That is for sure. So what made you think about streaming? Where did streaming come into the picture?
Okay, so I started streaming when I wanted to start drag. So I was watching I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, I think, season 4 was that when I first became aware of it, but I didn't start watching till season 6, and that's when at one point, I was like, "You know what? I kinda wanna do this," and that was because I was doing drag, like, Halloween as kind of like, fun and a joke, but I really liked doing it, I really loved it, and I did Daenerys one year, and I had a Daenerys costume for, like, the next spring, and this was spring 2016, they did a cosplay competition at a gay bar here in Chicago, and so I entered, into that, and I won, and so then I was like, "You know what? I should do this more," and so I did the next cosplay competition, and, then I was like, "You know, I kinda wanna do drag more, and I kinda wanna perform," but in order to, perform, especially on the weekends, you need to have experience performing, and then the way to get experience performing is you have to perform during the week at, like, late at night during these what are called tip spots, where you'll go and perform for no money, just tips, really, just what you get in tips from the audience, or, drag competitions, which bars will have. They'll be, like, multi-week competitions where you can win money, but still it's not paid or anything, and you're just performing for the first time on a stage for people. So it's amateur drag, but this is all during the week, and I work as a software engineer, so I'm like, when I was going into work, I'm waking up pretty early to take the train into work, and then I'd get home, and then it's like I can't be out till 3 a.m. doing drag. And I was already playing video games, and I already kind of had the idea in my mind. Like, I watched Coco Peru plays GTA 5, which is on YouTube. I suggest everybody watch it. It's hilarious. And Coco Peru is like a legendary drag queen comedian. And I was like, I kind of want to do that. And so like I was like, I'm gonna start streaming in drag. And so I did in 2016 fall. I started streaming in drag. um, I was playing a lot of Heroes of the Storm at the time, which I didn't even bring up, and I've probably played a full year straight of that game or something, like, I played a lot of Heroes of the Storm. So I would stream that, in drag, and I would just do it once a week on Wednesdays as just a way to get better at drag and get better at, like, talking and performing, um, and that kinda grew my drag in itself because I would get better at that, and then I started performing at these cosplay competitions that I once was winning in,
Mm.
and like it was great, and I was doing other shows, and then COVID hit, and I was given the opportunity to stream more because I was working from home, and so I started streaming on more than just Wednesdays. I also got an opportunity through Twitch. They were trying to promote beauty and body art categories,
Right.
and they were
Okay.
doing like a drag activation program for that. And so I was given 10 weeks of like 2 times on the front page to do makeup. And so I did that on Mondays and Saturdays. So then I was streaming and drag 3 times a week. And that was very, very helpful. I mean, it was the back of the carousel, but it was still like, it even if they lied and said I was gonna be on the front page and I wasn't, it still gave me a push to
Mm.
start streaming more, which then eventually led and, snowballed into me eventually getting partner and then just, continually growing.
That's fascinating. I had no idea. I remember seeing your streams, and I think I mentioned this obviously before we went live on the podcast. That yeah, I remember seeing you and discovering you just as the pandemic hit. I had no idea that it was that long a journey. That's fascinating. That's
Oh yeah, because I mean, I didn't really take streaming seriously. Streaming for me was just a way to practice drag at the beginning. So like I was not like committed to it. And then there were just all these like things that were like, hey, you're kind of you're getting gaining more success in this path than you are in your performing. Because I was hosting drag race at a bar every week. I was doing other things in drag, and um it's just like the Twitch side of my drag career just, took off, and I was like, I like this better.
mm,
So I'm gonna ride on this wave, and I did.
that's amazing. And like I remember the early part of the pandemic, where obviously everyone was stuck at home, right? And like Twitch, I mean, it went huge, didn't it? I remember a lot of
Yeah.
drag. I remember seeing a lot of drag artists on Twitch at that time. What one person being
Mhm.
yourself, and thinking, "Oh, bless, dude, this is horrible," because obviously a lot of drag artists, like a lot of people in the entertainment industry, they can't perform. And I always felt like that was. I didn't realize that your journey was pre 2016. I didn't realize that. I saw a lot of drag activity, should we say, on Twitch blowing up in 2020,
Mhm.
basically. Because it's not just with drag artists; it happened with a lot of people in the entertainment industry, comedians, bands, all sorts were doing Twitch, weren't they? So, wow, that's amazing. And you had that idea as well back in 2016 that you wanted to be a drag artist on a gaming on well by a gaming Twitch and stuff like that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say, like, I'm so happy, like, all these drag artists did come to Twitch during the pandemic because what they did was they were like, "Okay, drag fans, Twitch exists.
Yeah.
Hey, people who like drag, there is this platform here." And so that brought a lot of, people who enjoy drag to the platform that I was already on. And I'm like, yes, this is great. Um, so that was, yeah. And then I before me, Dear, if you know Dear, the founder of Stream Queens, she had actually started like a month or 2 months before me streaming in drag, and we didn't even know about each other um until I saw her comment on when Twitch had Facebook walls, like Facebook like walls at one point. I don't know if you remember or if anyone was even using Twitch while this they had that. It was a quick feature that went away was very shortly lived. Um, but someone posted, or no, she posted on a mutual Twitch friend's Facebook wall, and I was like, "Who's this?" And I looked and I was like, "Oh my god, another drag queen! Cool." And then like, I think I found through her, and maybe because she's much more of a networker than I am, so she was like finding other queens, and I would find them through her as well. And
Mm,
so like there was Chalora and Elix, and suddenly we had all these drag artists here on Twitch, and Dear got partnered, and so she started the Stream Queens,
yeah.
which then was just like, it became like a Twitch team is what you make of it, but it really became like a group of my best friends on the internet, and we were all drag artists, and it's like it was something I've never experienced before because I never felt that kind of friendship, or I want to say fellowship, a friendship with like drag artists in the local Chicago community. I never really connected with them in the way that I have with the other drag artists here on Switch. So it was really it was really great to find that
Yeah,
for me and my drag.
amazing. I mean, I clearly say I'm not a drag artist, or it's not really something I'm too familiar with, but I can feel similarities with almost like that outsiderness. Like I found a lot of people on Twitch who feel like they resonate with you more. A lot of streamer friends of mine have become genuine friends of mine, um, because I don't know what it is, but it brings people together. Twitch, and it's in a beautiful way.
Yeah,
And I have a connection with those people that I don't have with real life friends of mine. And I can't quite understand what it is, but it's something that's genuine and real and wholesome, and I love it. And
yeah.
I'm feeling that from yourself with your drag friends for sure. I mean, yeah, talk us through the differences then between, or the differences and the similarities, should we say, between performing a drag show and performing on Twitch, because I'm sure there's similarities and differences very very much in there, isn't there?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we can look at the pros and cons. So the pros of performing in a drag show, the audience is right there. You're only performing like what, twice for 3 minutes. So you're really only on stage for like, a max of 10 minutes usually. And you're collecting tips. You feel like a pop star basically. You're on a stage, you have a whole crowd in front of you, and you're lip syncing to not your own music usually, depending on if you make your own music or not. Um, and so that feels great. That feels like, like I said, you're a pop star. But then there's the late nights, you're in a club, you're surrounded by people, you have to do drag from the waist down, like on Switch, where
Yes.
I'm wearing shorts, I'm relaxed, I'm in a chair, I'm playing games, and it's still performing. I still feel that kind of, pop star energy when I'm streaming, but it doesn't have to be all channeled into just, those 10 minutes. It's stretched across, six. I usually stream for 6 hours if I'm in drag, and it's a lot more laid back. It's a lot more chill. Yeah, I would say they're very similar in terms of how I feel
Yeah.
empowered by the power of drag, but different in terms of what we're actually producing and the content that's being delivered.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. Um, so it's the last day. I don't mind telling people it's the last day of May, but next month it's Pride Month Is there anything different for you in Pride Month? Do you do extra special streams? Do you do any charity work? What's the month like for you?
So I just did a charity stream
Oh,
for the Trans Empowerment Project, and I'll probably be doing charity streams during June. I don't have anything scheduled or planned. Um, I think I have some emails I haven't responded to that I should probably respond to. Um, but for the special things is well, Pride is like, all the companies want to feature queer content, and I think that's great. So yeah, I have a lot lined up. With some pretty big companies too. I'm very excited. I've been doing a sponsorship with 2K Games for Tiny Tina Wonderlands, which I get to play with my best friends basically, which is like I getting paid to play video games that you enjoy with your best friends is like it feels like cheating. Like I feel like I'm cheating.
yeah, yeah,
So I feel like I'm scamming at some point, and um that's just awesome, and I love that. Let's what else do I have? I know Dead by Daylight usually does a Pride thing every year, so um, probably be a part of that if that happens.
yeah.
I know there's just NDAs. I can't talk about it.
Okay, okay,
I'm
yeah.
like afraid. I'm afraid of breaking any NDAs because I don't read contracts,
Oh no.
and I don't just sign it, and I'll just won't talk about it. And
Well, this will
no,
be out middle of June. It'll be fine, hopefully.
oh, in that case, then
Don't worry, you don't
no.
have to say anything if you
Then
don't want to.
I'll have
Yeah,
already streamed on Xbox's channel, which is a crazy opportunity that I was so lucky to get.
yeah.
Um, and Dead by Daylight's event is sometime in mid-June.
Well, if it hasn't happened already, guys, check it out. Yeah. Oh wow, that's it's so exciting, isn't it? Oh, it's really cool. I think it's fascinating. So where did you come up with DragTrashly? It rolls off the tongue beautifully. Can I just? I love your username.
Oh, thanks. My original drag name is #Trashly, which came from when I was camping with friends. We went canoeing, and this story is so long. I need to find a shorter way to tell it. But I guess the quick story is at the end of the canoe route, a bus picks you up where like everybody gets off the canal, and we're just kind of waiting for this bus to show up with these other groups of canoers. And then we meet this girl, and she's just wasted. She's completely blitzed. But I thought she was the funniest person I've ever seen. But also I was completely blitzed. So I was talking to her and just having a good old time. And she asked me where where we were camping at, where our tents were, and I was like, I don't know. I was like trying to tell her. All my friends were like, shh, no, do not tell her. Like they could tell, like they did. I was already a mess. They didn't want another mess coming to our campsite. So anyway, her name was Ashley, and so later that night they were like, I wonder what happened to Ashley. #prayers for Trashly. And so I thought that was so funny. I was like,
Yeah.
that's my drag name, #Trashly. Now I go by just Trashly. When I was looking at socials, I was like, I don't think Trashly was available, so I just picked Drag Trashly. I think I gave it a little thought, and I was like Trashly Drag Queen Trashly, Drag Trashly. But now it's become Drag Trashly, and I think it works. It
Yeah.
says what I do, drag, my name, Trashly.
100%. 100%.
Um I love it when people call me drag. They're like, drag over here, like in video games. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh man, do you remember what your first stream was like? What did you play? What were the feelings you had? Um,
Sure. It was Heroes of the Storm, probably. And I don't know if I was actually in drag my first stream. I think I might have done like a test stream to like Facebook or something out of drag. Um, but yeah, I was playing Heroes of the Storm. I didn't talk to anybody.
no.
Um, Dear always tells me she came to my chat and like said hi, and I didn't even respond for like 40 minutes. I like didn't look at the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was like I feel like there's like something with like being put in front of a camera. If you've never done that before, you're suddenly like different. You're quiet. You're suddenly more aware of everything on you. You're now
Oh yeah.
looking at yourself through the camera, and so you're not really yourself. And so I feel like it does take some time and practice to not be weirded out about that and to just get used to it. And yeah, I think it just comes with experience. And eventually took me a lot longer than it should because I streamed once a week. But yeah, eventually you get better at, being able to look at the audience while playing, being able to respond, knowing when to respond. And
Yeah, for sure. No, you're right. I was quite fortunate really when I first started streaming. That prior to that, I was doing radio shows, so I'd listen back to my voice and stuff like that. So I was able to understand how to carry my voice a bit
Mhm.
better. And people were like, "Oh, what? This is your first stream? No way!" I was like, "Well, thankfully I've done radio shows, but if it wasn't for those radio shows, I would have been."
Right.
I've listened back to my first radio shows, and that, oh god, there's no character. My voice is completely different. I have no idea how to carry it.
You
Uh,
say that, yeah, you say that, it reminds me, like, editing my own stuff, that's when I'm really just like, "Never laugh like that again." Like, I'm so like, I hear myself and I'm like, "Okay, I can never laugh like that again, I can never make that sound again," and I do, and it doesn't matter, but you do become more aware of yourself and how you sound, like you said.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. But being yourself is so important, though, isn't it? Because again,
Yeah,
you always put this like fake. Well, I did. I put on this fake facade of pretending to be someone I was. I was trying to be cool with my radio voice, and
yeah,
it was awful. And now I'm just me. No matter I'm talking to you like I would on stream, like I would with my friends and family. It's just and people are attracted to that. I find. Again, with your experience, you've got bundles
yeah.
of it.
I feel like being in drag also puts, like, a mask on me to allow
Yeah.
me to be more myself in a way, even though I'm look like a lot less of myself. Uh, so that definitely helps having that, mask on top of everything. It also just allows me to be a little bit more intense and crazier, and I do feel like it lends itself to my performance, while streaming.
Mm. And it's like turning yourself to 11, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah.
That brings me a nice point. Actually, I was going to ask you, how much does I mean, again with the drag, how much does the sass help when you're dealing with like trolls and dealing with people who are just there to just try to ruin a good time? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be
Yeah.
moments you can think of where, oh, you've given some brilliant burns.
Yeah, the thing is, it's fun to be sassy, it's fun to come up to, like, absolutely destroy that troll, but the thing is, these are nameless people behind a username in your chat, so it's never as effective as you'd like it to be. Like, they they will they have no reason to, like, stop or, like, feel ashamed. Like, if they felt shame, they wouldn't be in the stream in the first place. It's not like hecklers at a bar where a queen like, I don't know if you've ever watched Bianca Del Rio or someone just, like, read the filth out of an audience member or heckler or someone. It's not like that, and it's sad, but the best way to deal with trolls is to just not acknowledge them because that's what takes away their power. But, I mean, in the beginning, I was, like, very sassy. I was very, like but what do you go off of when you see a username? You can go off their username, you can go off what they say, but if they're not giving you any of that, it's not even fun for the chat for you to be sassy because it's like someone named, I don't know, NZZZ0
Yeah.
said, "You look ugly." Like, what do you say to that? Like, I mean, the only thing you really can say is like, "Well, send me a pic. I wanna see how you look."
Hmm.
Like, that's really the only thing you can say. Um, one hilarious and entertaining thing I learned from Deer is feigning ignorance to trolls, which I said this during a TwitchCon, uh panel I was on where someone was coming and they would say something and you would just pretend you read something else. And so you would say like, God hates figs. Why would God hate figs? They're full of fiber. And
Yeah.
like that completely disarms them and they have to retype the message and say
Yeah.
what they wanted to say again so you could see it again. And by then it just makes them look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I think the most effective tool is fortunately. It's not fun,
No, no, it's the
but
real answer. No, no, absolutely.
having a great moderator team and
Yes.
ignoring.
Yeah, that's so key. Sure. Shout out to mods. We love mods.
Oh
Um,
my god,
what would we do
yes.
without them? So have you got any favorite stream memories that you can think of? Over the years.
Yeah, so with with the stream queens and the pandemic happening, um, there was an opportunity to do so there was no TwitchCon. So Deer and the leadership in Stream Queens started Stream Queens Con, which is like an online convention we all had where we would have different kind of panels talking like focused on accessibility in gaming or marginalized communities and like just a lot of like there's even comedy panels and just different types of panels and performances and things in drag and to really bring the Twitch drag community together. um, I watched most of it. I thought it was great, but what was really the amazing experience was like after I did a Sims drag race where I put like stream queens in the Sims and we did a drag race for that. And like afterwards, I just went into like the green room of where we were just together watching other people during the con and other panels and just like sitting there kikiing, having a great time, laughing. It was really just like a great moment just with friends while I wasn't streaming, but I was watching other people stream and I had been a part of this thing
Yeah.
that brought us together. And I think that was probably like my happiest memory of Twitch and or at least streaming in general. Other than that, there was a time a spider went across my face, came out of my wig, and crawled across my face, and I thought it was a sweat drop, and I didn't pay attention to it, and I was
Oh
like I
no.
was painting my nails, so it was pretty zoomed in, and so, like, chat could see the spider crawling across my face.
God.
That was what a favorite moment as well.
Please tell me that's been clipped. Has that been clipped, please?
Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
on Twitter
brilliant.
somewhere. I can send it to you.
Amazing.
Um,
Amazing. Oh wow. All right, just final question then really. We just bring it all in, which is, what advice would you give to anyone thinking about streaming? What advice would you give to them? And yeah, just sum it up really.
uh, yeah, I think the number one advice is you're gonna have technical difficulties no matter what. Everyone does. It's all the time. Um, there's just gonna be the internet's gonna go out. I get so mad when my internet goes out, and it's like it's out of my control, and I don't know why I'm getting worked up over. It's like, why am I making myself upset over something I can't control? So I
Mm,
tried really not to do that. Um, I would say like start with what you have, see if you like it, see what you like it, see what parts you can grow. Like start with I think I just used this when I started streaming, I had this headset and I was just streaming with that as a mic. It sounded like a potato. Um, I had this webcam and I didn't have a green screen or anything. I would just do drag with whatever was behind me. And I had like I didn't really have great lighting either. And I just kind of like slowly built upon that. And it wasn't much of an investment. And it was kind of like, I don't know if this is good advice, but I really slowly immersed myself into Twitch before, I know a lot of people really, buy huge gaming setups and streaming setups and then just go full in and then they're kind of disappointed that they're not getting, an immediate response
yeah.
for their investment, which can can be sad. But if in general, no matter if you're immersing yourself slowly or you're jumping in, just know that it's going to take a while to build up. Having a schedule and streaming more and consistently is important. I didn't really start growing until I started streaming 3 days a week, and that's I don't know if it just happened like that because it was during the pandemic and that it was just kind of a correlation, or if it was causation by streaming more, but that's how it was for me, and that's what I hear from other people as well. Uh,
Brilliant. Yeah, no,
I
I appreciate that. Oh, DragTrashly, thank you
And just
so much.
enjoy what you do and enjoy what you play. I think that's the number
Yes.
one advice I would have. Like if you don't wanna play something, don't play it. If you're not enjoying it, don't play it. I in order to be in order to like have people want to watch you and enjoy that, you need to be enjoying what you're doing. Unless, maybe there is some other like one-off streams where someone's, being woken up every hour by loud noises or something like that.
Yeah.
Where the point of the stream is to torture the streamer.
Yeah. No. True. No, that's excellent advice. I really think I completely agree with you completely. And hey, you're very successful at it, so your advice is very much appreciated. But yeah, DragTrashly, thank you so much for being here. That's all my questions. Would you like to?
Thank you for having me.
I hope you've had a good time.
I appreciate it. Yes,
Your
it's so
first
easy to talk
podcast.
to you. Just like, yeah, my first video podcast too. So next time I'll have to put myself in drag and put a wig hat on and
Well,
some makeup.
if anyone wants to see DragTrashly in drag, go on Twitch. Go and search for them.
Yeah,
One more time, do you want to plug your socials and see where we can find you?
sure. I'm at DragTrashly everywhere. So that's drag and then Trashly with no E. Um, pretty much everywhere. Yeah, that's about it. I'll
Amazing.
be doing some Pride stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you have big plans for Pride Month?
For Pride Month, that's a good question. I don't at the moment. It's funny. I don't normally do a lot with Pride, but last year I raised money for AKT, which is a UK based LGBTQ homeless charity, and I'm getting my
Nice.
tattoo. I raised over £1,000, and I said I'd get a tattoo for a certain amount of money. I'm getting because the pandemic blew everything up and there was so much postponement. I'm finally getting that tattoo in Pride Month this year, so I'm quite happy about
That's
that.
exciting.
Yeah, no, that's probably the only thing I could think of really. But I would like to do something for sure. Yeah, it's an amazing month, and thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
All right, that's it. I can't even talk anymore. That's about it, everyone. Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.